Since he arrived on the scene in 1964 with the chart-topping It's Not Unusual, he's remained a constant. Hit after hit, Delilah, What's New Pussycat, Green Green Grass of Home, She's a Lady, hit albums, top-rated TV series, a knighthood, and even a James Bond theme. Hello, I'm Ernie Manous. Coming up on Interviews, our conversation with the one and only Sir Tom Jones. Is it still the same thrill to go onto the stage today as it was when you started?
Yes, it's still the same thrill. That doesn't change. I don't think any performer would say that you don't get a little sort of, not nervous, but excited before you get on there.
The same tingle, the same?
Yeah, definitely. It's not just like walking into a room or into a restaurant or anywhere. You know, when you go on stage, you're aware there's people out there, and you've got to do the best you can, you know, with the tools you have, and as long as my voice is working, you know, as long as I don't have laryngitis or a cold or something that would hinder me, then everything should be fine.
How have you kept the voice all these years in such good shape?
Well,
a lot of artists haven't. They've abused them and they've lost that specialness.
Yeah. Well, my voice, thank God, is still intact. It's not as high as it was, but that's a natural thing.
Yeah.
When you get older, you know, your voice drops. Everybody's does, if you sing or not. When I was younger, I was a tenor, and now I'm more of a baritone. But my low tones are much richer than they used to be when I was young, and I haven't lost that much off the top end. You know, I used to be able to hit high C's. Now it's B flat, which is only one tone down. So, but I've gained a lot on the bottom end.
Yeah. When you hear the rich and deeper tones in your voice, does that then change the material you choose to do? Are you looking for different shading, different feelings to come out of the songs you're recording today?
Well, not so much musically, but lyrically. You know, that there's songs now that I do that I don't think would have meant the same when I was young. Like there's a Leonard Cohen song that I do called The Tower of Song.
Yeah.
Well, my friends are gone and my hair is gray. I ache in the places where I used to play, and I'm crazy for love, but I'm not coming home. I'm just paying my rent every day in the Tower of Song.
You know, my friends are gone and my hair is gray. So, I mean, I couldn't have sung that 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Because most of my friends were still around there.
And your hair was far from gray.
My hair wasn't gray then. So there are certain things that are more meaningful now. It's not so much. It's not that I haven't lost any of the fire. You know, the fire is still there. But I think some of the songs are more meaningful.
Yeah.
You know, that I think you have to have lived a while sometimes to. When I hear young singers and they sound like they've lived a long time, you know, that's the first thing I say. You sound like you've lived what you're singing. Yeah. But I think when you have, it shows even more. It does with me anyway.
Yeah. Take me all the way back. When you talk about singing and being a singer, I think a lot of people, Welsh people, music is really a part of that culture to a big degree. What was it that told you I should be doing more with that? Instead of just singing with family, instead of just singing around, what let you know that was a career for you?
Well, it was a thing that I always wanted to do. Singing was the most natural thing that I did. And I got more excitement out of singing as a child than I did from anything else, from any sport. You know, because a lot of kids in school, they like to play sport, if you can.
Yes.
And that's where they get their kicks, you know. But with me, it was always singing, and I thought, if I could make a living, if I could be a professional singer, that would be it. That would be it for me, because that's the most important thing. That's what gives me joy more than anything else. And so I think I was born to sing. You know, I mean, I think that I have a God-given talent, and thank God I have the desire to prove it.
Did you think the dream was reachable, though? A lot of young people will say, I want to be a singer. When did you know you really could do that? It could be something.
I always felt that.
Really?
Yeah, because I used to get up in school and sing, and I would get up at weddings and wherever I could.
Yeah.
You know, if they hadn't asked me to sing yet, I would pull on my mother's skirt, you know, and say, when are they going to ask me to sing? And, you know, she'd say, wait a minute. So I was always eager to get up there and sing.
Yeah.
So I especially when you're a kid, you know, you think, because people say, oh, you'll be a star when you grow up. You know, and you say, oh, I'm going to be a star when I grow up. But as you live a bit, you know, and you learn things, you realize it's not going to be as easy as maybe you thought it would be when you were a child.
Right.
But listening to other singers on the radio when I was growing up, you know, I didn't hear anybody that I thought, I can't sing like that. You know, I never heard somebody that I thought, oh, I'll never be able to do that.
Right.
That never happened. So my confidence was always there, and I think it goes hand in hand. You know, because there's a lot of people with great voices, but they don't have the desire. They don't have the drive. As far as singing is concerned, they may have a drive in somewhere else, but to get on stage was a thrill for me, and you have to have that as well as the voice.
There was a period also when you were about 12 that you got very sick. You had tuberculosis. And you were down for almost 2 years with it, if I found it correctly. During that period, did you think, this isn't going to happen for me? I'm going to become a coal miner. I'm going to do something else. I'm not going to.
Well, when I had tuberculosis, the one thing that I couldn't do was become a coal miner, because
So
that's
the other way.
Yeah. So it was like a blessing in disguise, because my father was a coal miner, and most of the kids that I was growing up with, they would be going to the coal mine, and but when I had TB, my doctor said the one thing you can't do is become a coal miner. So I said, okay.
Sounds like a score.
Yeah. So, but then for that 2 years, the only downside to it was, apart from not being able to go out and play with the kids, was that I couldn't sing. You know, I couldn't do anything physical.
Right.
So then I started to draw and paint, and so I sort of got my creative side out in that, and so that sort of filled in for the not being able to sing.
Do you still remember that period of time? Do you remember that time of not being able to go out, not being able to run around with other kids, or is it far enough in the past now?
No, I remember it very well.
Yeah.
It's always with me, because I used to look out the window and see kids playing, and I couldn't go out there, and that was hard. That was the thing that, but I knew it wasn't like when I see children now on television, for instance, that have an illness that maybe they won't get better. You know, and that's terrible. But with tuberculosis, when I was a kid, they said, look, you've got to rest. It could take a year, it could take 2 years, but once you get over that, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that I thought, oh, I've got this illness that is going to be with me for the rest of my life. I knew it was only going to be a short period of time, but I knew I had to go through that period of time in order to get well and to carry on. But there was a big lesson that I learned there, that not to take life for granted, because a lot of children, healthy children, that's all they know.
Yeah.
You know, and if they come from a good family, which I did, it was a working class background, but they were good people. You know, I came from a working class community, coal mining, that people stuck together. You know, there was a great community growing up. So I had all that, but then this TB set me back, you know, but I learned from it. I thought once I get out of bed, you know, once I'm able to go out into the street, there used to be a lamppost at the bottom of our street. And the kids always used to gather around the lamppost, you know, especially at night time. And I thought, when I can walk to that lamppost, you know, I'll never mourn about anything again as long as I live. And that still is with me.
Yeah.
The lamppost is gone now. It's not
But
there
the
anymore.
memory is still there.
So, but the memory is still there.
Yeah. Shortly after you get over all of that, you quickly were married. You were rather young. You and your wife got married when you were 16 each?
Yeah.
That's pretty
16.
young.
My wife was just 16,
Yeah.
and I was almost 17.
Ah, well, you're much older than that.
Well, exactly. I'm 7 months older than she is.
So she came into this not knowing what she was going to get. You basically didn't know where your life was going to take you.
Right.
How much of a strain has all of this been on that relationship? And are you able to maintain a world that you had created before fame hit? Because it changes so much.
Yeah. Well, when we first got married, I didn't know. I still had this ambition, though.
Yeah.
You know, and then getting married, I feel that it gave me more determination, because I had a wife and a son very early, and that seemed to make me want it even more, not just for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, I need to make this thing work, and I didn't really have a trade. You know, I was trained as a glove cutter when I left school. You know, I can make gloves. I know about leather, but that's about it. So I knew my voice was going to be my savior. I just had this feeling that this voice was like a knockout punch that a fighter knows that he has.
Yeah.
You know, when he gets in the ring, when you know you have this thing that could be let loose any time, at the right time, and that thing's going to fly. And I felt like that about my voice. That if I knew I had to, there were things, you know, that I had to do, or hopefully somebody would come and discover me. But I knew I had the voice to do it. Yeah. I had this confidence in my vocal ability, and that never left me.
When did you know that women would be attracted to you the way it became? Was that a manufactured, hey, we've got something here, or did you already know that going in?
Well, when I was in school, you know, or I'd get up and sing, that was always my, you know, like I said about boys, especially in school, you know, when they play football or whatever they play, you know, if they're the jock, you know what I mean, the girls like that. Well, for me, it was singing. It was music, because I knew it. Because when I get up and sing, you know, people would take note. People would listen to me, and so I would get that from not only girls, but I mean, there were a lot of young girls that maybe wouldn't look at me in the same way as when I got up and sang.
Right.
You know, like, wow. You know, it's like, so I was aware of that. It was always part of my life.
Yeah.
That I had this gift, if you like, that appealed to people in general, though. But you know, girls were definitely part of that.
Yeah, definitely part of the Tom Jones story.
yeah. Well, it's you know.
And you hit pretty quickly once you get the right management, and you go to London, and it's not unusual hits.
Yep.
You're there.
Yeah.
It takes off.
Yep.
Hard for you at that age for all of this sudden attention.
Well, I was waiting for it, because I was playing a lot of dance halls and clubs and pubs in Wales. So I had sort of, and I had gotten I was singing with a rock band, a cover band in Wales, and playing in these pubs and clubs. So I was getting attention, you know, and it was getting bigger, because the more clubs we played, people would start to come and see me, you know, come and see us, the band, you know. I mean, I was the singer, and it was 3 guitars and drums, and I was the singer, and they used to do some vocal backing as well. But we sort of built up a reputation, if you like, in the coal mining areas of South Wales, in what they called working men's clubs. They were like nightclubs for working class people.
Right.
And so we built up a reputation there. So I had a feeling of this, what fame might be like. because people would always be saying, "Good God, I mean, you sing, you know, you sing it better than the records. You know, you were singing the songs that you were singing are better than whoever's singing them on the record." So so I had that, you know, that feeling and the sort of the response from the people. So I felt that if somebody comes to see me that can get me a record contract, that can do something for me, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Especially with the band that I had, you know, and that happened. Gordon Mills saw me in a club and said, you know, you should be in London. I said, I understand that, but what do I do when I get there?
Yeah.
So so that's when it started, and I started doing demos for you know, songs that he would be writing and other people for other singers, and that's when this It's Not Unusual popped up.
Yeah.
You know, he said, I got this song that he wrote with another man called Les Reed, and we have a chance of Sandy Shaw's next single if she likes this song. And Sandy Shaw was had a bunch of hit records at that time in England, so I did the demo. But thank God when they played her the demo, she said, whoever's singing this song, that's his song. You know, I couldn't sing that like that.
Wow, how different it might have been if she had said, I'll take it.
Well, there you go. Who knows? I mean, I threatened my manager. I said, if I don't get this song, I'm going back to Wales.
Yeah.
You know, I've had this. I just knew that this song was the one. It's a strange thing, but I just felt it was, and it was.
You've been singing this song now for 50 years, basically.
Yep.
Ever tired of singing it? Was there ever the period where you thought, oh, do I have to sing that one again? Or does it always because it delivered you?
It's Not Unusual is always the most important one.
Really?
Because that was the one that changed my life.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone.
And it was such a huge record, you see, all over the world, you know, and that's it.
Now, you follow that string of hit records, hit television show, top of the career, as high as anyone can go in this business. Ever think to yourself, maybe this isn't what I wanted? Or was it always, this is what I want?
Oh, this is what I want. This is what, I mean, when I got my first hit record, It's Not Unusual, I thought, this is it. This is it.
And then it kept coming.
And then it kept, then you wonder, you know, you think, where's the next one going to come from? But I knew I had my foot in the door. You know, I knew that was the beginning. I thought if I never get a record this big again, I'm still going to be able to be a professional singer. Yeah. You know, that's what I felt, that record had done for me. And I think that's what would have happened anyway. If I'd never had a record of that size again, I would still be a professional singer today.
Yeah. Was it ever hard being recognized? Was it ever too much? People wanted too much from you, or did it come hand in hand?
It comes hand in hand. You have to understand it.
Yeah.
You have to know what it is. You know why people feel this way, and why, because you're on television. You know, people see you. They feel that they know you.
Oh yeah.
You know, sometimes I see actors, for instance, you know, in LA, and I go, hey, you know, nice to see you, and I think, have I met this person? You know, or am I so used to seeing this person, you know, on the screen?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what people think when they see me. You know,
you tell a funny story about you and Elvis, and Elvis about, you know, it was hard for him to go out in public.
Yeah.
And your take on why it was so hard for Elvis.
Yeah. Well, he said, you know, he said, I'd like to go out, Tom. You know, how do you do it? I said, well, first of all, I dress down. You know, you try to, I said, you know, Elvis, you can't go out wearing a white suit, you know, and the glasses and the hair. You know, I mean, you're so recognizable.
Yeah.
And have 6 fellas walking in front of you saying, you know, please move out the way, Elvis is coming. Yeah. You know, you've got to try and, if you're going to do it. But I think Elvis loved being Elvis. And I don't blame him, you know, because I had great times with him, and he was a great man. But I think he enjoyed it. I think he liked the fact that, you know, he appreciated it.
Oh, yeah.
That he came from humble beginnings like myself, you know, and then he became Elvis Presley.
When you see how his career ended, how he ended actually, do you take lessons from that? Do you learn from seeing that? Because you can be such a big star, burn so bright that you burn out. Do you learn from that?
Well, one of the things that happened to Elvis was the drugs. You see, he got involved in. I think it was uppers and downers, because once you get onto that bloody thing, you take sleeping pills to go to sleep, then you take uppers to be up.
Yeah.
And apparently, when he died of a heart attack, that it was a combination of things that he had been taking. But I think it was pills more than anything else. And you have to be careful of that, And thank God I never got in. Because he used to ask me, Elvis used to say, how do you stay sane? How do you deal with all that we have to deal with?
Right.
And he said, what drugs do you take in order to be sane? And I said,
You don't.
I don't, and that's why I enjoy a drink.
Yeah.
I love a drink, but then you've got to be careful with that as well. You've got to make sure that you don't drink before a show, for instance. I've tried that, it doesn't work.
Right.
So there are a few things you learn along the way. And you learn that you have to sleep. And you have to drink a lot of water. Don't get dehydrated. So there's things that you pick up.
Mid-'80s, your career is resting comfortably. Kiss hits.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's back again. All of it's back on top. Expecting that back, or were you quite content with what you had achieved?
Well, through the 70s, I was doing fine because of what I had accomplished in the 60s into the early 70s.
Right.
So that was, especially in America, I was playing arenas,
Yeah.
all the way through the 70s. But I realized that I had to get another hit record. I couldn't rest on my laurels, So we tried some country things in the early 80s.
Right.
And they worked. I'm doing well with the country records, and that was fine for a time. But I knew that wasn't where I belonged.
Yeah.
It was something. But I always loved country music. I mean, I still record country songs today. But I knew that wasn't where I belonged. I was not a country performer. So I was waiting for a new song, that I would come up with a new song that would get me back into top 40 radio again. And I was doing Kiss on stage because I liked it. Anytime I would hear somebody do a song, I would put it in my show. And Prince had Kiss, and I thought, wow, let's do that. So I was doing it. And I just happened to do it on an English television show, and The Art of Noise saw me do it and thought, why don't we record that?
Yeah.
And I said, sure, let's record it for an Art of Noise album.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a new song. It was a song that had just been a hit.
Right.
I mean, I think Prince, it was less than 2 years since he'd already had a big hit with it. And then I come with a different arrangement, really. And then it was.
And then Sex Bomb comes out about
Yep.
10 years later. After that, you come back again with another popular young people's hit,
Yeah.
if that's the way to put it. And so you never go away. You're always right there with something. People know Tom Jones, no matter what generation you grab. Do the younger fans know the older work? And the older fans know the younger work, or has it?
Yeah, well, I don't think I've ever recorded anything that sort of my fans have said, oh my God, I don't like that. I've never sort of gone to a place musically that would be alien completely.
Right.
There's always had some kind of, there's meaning in the songs that I do, but the sounds change. That's what changes. Like with Kiss, I've been doing songs like Kiss since I started. It's not unusual, it's similar, but the sound is different. And that's what happens. So I've never gone into a part of music that people say, oh my God, that doesn't suit Tom at all. I've never had that.
Well, listening over to your body of work before we did this, I'm thinking to myself, For me, it's not the song as much as who it is singing it. You bring a certain Tom Jones-ness to what you do. So if you like Tom Jones, it really, to me, doesn't matter what you choose to perform. There's something within the performance that's what's drawing me in as a fan.
Well, I think so. I mean, that's the way it feels to me when I'm singing it. You know, I mean, I can do a Hank Williams song, which I'm doing. You know, Why Don't You Love Me Like You Used to Do?
Yeah.
You know. Which I've always loved, and I can do Kiss.
Yeah.
You know, I can do the Green Green Grass of Home, which is a country song, really. You know, and then I can do a blues. You know, so my back ain't got no bone. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, we get down to that as well. So it's, but I still want to put my take on it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to sound like somebody else. I'm not trying to sound like Hank Williams when I do a Hank Williams song. I'm not trying to sound like Prince when I do Kiss. I'm still sounding like me. So I have to come through that song that I'm singing.
Well, all I can say at this point is thank you for being you for all these years and the great music you've brought us, and keep going strong.
Thank you.
Sir Tom Jones.
There you go.
To order a DVD of this or any episode of Interviews, please visit HoustonPublicMedia.org.